Thank you, Sonal. Good evening, all of you. I hope you're all staying safe. And I know most of us are locked down at home, but in these unprecedented times, take care of yourself and use this time wisely to learn a skill, right? So hopefully you're all doing good. Happy to take any questions that you may have in product management as a discipline, as a skill, as a job role, as transitioning into it, or any areas that you may have.
Thank you, Sai. I request all the attendees to raise their hands so that I can unmute them and they can ask their questions.
Sonal, is there a way that you can allow me to share a video so that at least people know that, put a name to face, and then I can turn that off after some time?
Give me a second. Let me check.
Thank you. Your screen is visible, by the way, just to let you know.
Thank
So
you.
meanwhile, I see Shobit has raised his hand. So while I answer his question, you can probably.
Sure. Please unmute yourself, Shobit, and go ahead.
Thanks, Sai. Thanks, Sonal. Sai, thank you for taking out time to schedule this. One question that I had is we see that future seems definitely more inclined toward that your tech is going to grow and product manager kind of roles are going to be more center than what it is today. However, when we see people who are somewhere in their mid careers and are probably aligned with more business roles than the product or tech side of roles, what recommendation would you have for them to make that transition? Like, what kind of probably learnings that they should look at, what kind of skills they should look to build to really make the case that they might be a good fit for product manager role? Because once you're at a middle management kind of a layer, you cannot also go and start new and fresh. And considering any company, for them to consider you for a, let's say, senior product manager kind of role, it's also difficult to justify the cost.
Yeah.
So how do you balance the two, and what recommendation would you have about it?
Excellent question. I think this is something that I know has been on the minds of many people who are, let's say, what we call in India as mid-careers, right? So mid-careers is somewhere in India we define as 7+ years or 8+ years of work experience. So what I'll do is, while trying to answer these questions, I'll try to be as broad as possible also, so that we can cover any unanswered or unasked questions, if you will, right? So great question, Shobit. I think first let's understand a few things. One, it is a myth that all product managers should have technology understanding or technical know-how, right? So in fact, I know many product managers who are absolutely non-technical. Now, understanding and working knowledge of technology becomes important if you are building a product in technology, right? If your products are based on technology stack or technology evolution or new emerging technologies, if you will. So that understanding of those will be really required if you're in that in those products. Now, the second aspect to that is if you have anywhere up to 10 years or plus work experience, let's say, right? Now you have obviously accumulated a lot of expertise and experience. It could be in industry or domain. It could be in a functional role like project management, program management, or pre-sales or marketing or any of those things. Now, there is absolutely no reason why you should throw that away, right? Now, often I see many people chasing behind these buzzwords that we have in the technology industry around AI, ML, blockchain, and all of these. Now, those are all very important, technologies and emerging aspects that many, products will include. But think about it for 1 second. and by the way, in no way I'm discouraging you not to learn those things, but assuming that your careers will transition or you will change the careers because you've done some certification of that machine learning course or some blockchain is not right, because of two reasons, right? One is, let's assume that you even want to and have the appetite and interest and everything to learn that. You are actually going to compete with 3 years, 4 years experienced people who are, let's face it, they are much more agile. They are far more cheaper than you, right? And they may actually have hands-on working experience, and which you lack right now. So
Right.
my suggestion always is that you leverage your experience and expertise and get into roles or seek roles where you can use them rather than completely new ones. Now, how do you look at that? Right. So if I were to define the role of a product manager, now remember, I am not talking about a title of product manager, which is very important. Often we conflate the title of a product manager with a role. In fact, let's say, in your company, your vice president of products or vice president of engineering, by the way, is a product person. Right? Although his title is VP of engineering, he is not a super coder, super programmer than any of your smart junior engineers, right? In fact, I'm sure he doesn't even program or do anything anymore. But they're a product leader. Why? Because at that stage and at a senior roles, what is more important is to understand cross-functional aspects of business. Right. So you really need to know how each of the aspects there are various departments, there are various functions within a product organization, right? So you have pre-sales, you have marketing, you have designers, you have engineering, you have partners, you have pricing, a lot of these, right? So, and finance and sales, all of this. Now, if you don't understand how all of these contribute to the success, and if you don't have a good working knowledge of these particular areas, then you will never grow as a product leader in the company, right? So to grow into that role, you don't need to be necessarily technical person, but having the skills to understand these cross-functional aspects of the business is very important. And the third one is, at a certain stage in your career, what becomes really important is your ability to stand up, communicate, convince, influence, and negotiate with your stakeholders, be it teams, be it customers, be it partners, be it your leadership team, becomes absolutely critical. Right. So these are all the skills that I'm talking about that would require for a non-technology person or non-technical person to move into senior product roles. When I say product roles, it's not just product manager title, right? You could still be a director of engineering, but you are still in a product role. Why? Now you not only understand how to build those products, but the questions around why are we building this product? Whom are we building this product for? How do we take this product to market? What should be done to make it successful in the market? How are we going to price this? Now, these may not be your job responsibilities, but these skills are absolutely paramount, right? So especially for senior working professionals. So finally, if you think about what this role that I'm talking about is a customer facing and business decision making role. That's all it is, right? Yeah. Now, of course, there are a lot of skills that come into play here, and it is very important to upskill yourselves in these things, but don't be under the assumption or a belief that one needs to be technical and hence can only play the product role. Yes, technology understanding is required if you are building products in using technology or in the technology space. Yeah. In fact, I hired, a few years ago, 2 product managers, and one of them was actually a pianist, musician.
Wow. Interesting.
Okay. I hope that answers the question, Shobit.
That answers the question, Sai. Thanks a lot.
Sure.
Thank you, Shobit.
Hopefully you guys can see me now. I'm not a robo talking through. So hello, everyone. I know I can't see you guys, but yeah.
Thank you for sharing your video, Sai. I request all the attendees to feel free and raise their hands so that we can answer your questions. Meanwhile, there is a question here from Adarsh. He wants to know the difference between business analyst and product management. He works as a business analyst in an e-commerce firm, and he has 3 years of work experience.
Very good. I think again, quite a common question. I'm sorry, who asked this question?
Adarsh.
Others, don't be shy. You can come on and ask the question on the audio, but next time I'm sure if you have a question, do that. So others, you know, you've been a business analyst. There are lots of business analysts in this country, right? Many companies have this very interesting role, which is kind of an interface that sits between often either the business team or a customer themselves directly and the team that is building the solution, right? Typically development team or engineering team or whatever. And primary responsibilities include translating of requirements, understanding them from the business team and customers, translating them in form in such a way that the development teams understand it, right? Now, if you look at, there is a uncanny similarity with another role that we have started using it more often, just because it sounds a little cool, right? So product owner, right? I'm sure you've heard of that. Now, technically, from a responsibilities point of view, in many companies, product owner is essentially what used to be business analyst, right? Now, product owner, by the way, is just the first and the beginning and the first step towards product management, right? Now, why? Because product management is not just inbound focus, not just focusing internally into, hey, are the stories clear? Are the user stories properly defined? Do we have a definition of done? Can we do this in particular time frame? Can we demo this? Can we make sure it is working? So that's just one aspect of it, what we call as a phase in creating value, right? A more important job for product managers, especially junior product manager, let's say with a title product manager, and then the titles go typically from product manager to senior product manager to principal product manager to director of products, or rather group product manager, director of products, and then so on, right? Senior director. And by the way, if you look around, many of the product companies, the CEOs today are product people, right? 5 to 7 years ago, that was not true. In fact, most of the companies, if you look at the CEOs, they come from one particular functional role, right? And you may have guessed it, it is sales, right? Today, that's not the case. If you look at it, a lot of these CXOs are coming from product roles. Now, going back to the product owner and the product manager, now the product manager also need to have one more context, which is a customer context. So a whole role, job responsibilities of a product person, again, I'm not using product manager, is in 3 contexts: customer context, business context, and innovation context, right? Now, innovation context, many of you are familiar, especially if you are in engineering, project management, program management, business analyst, is basically creating the value to solve a customer's problem. Most of our time is spent in that part. So that's kind of clear to you. But then there are other 2 contexts which, as a product manager or a product person, you need to know, which is a customer context, right? You know, what that means is, you know, what problems are we solving for customer, or what needs are we addressing for this customer? Who are these customers, right? That itself is a big question. Now, if I ask you very quickly in your own context, can you tell me who is your customer? And I'll tell you the answers go something like this: banks, telecom companies, insurance, pharmaceutical companies. No, they are not your customers. Who is using your product, right? Again, the answer I hear is B2B, B2C, B2B2B, B2B2C, and all of that. No, my simple thing is it's B2H. There is always a human on the other side. There is always a user on the other side. There is always a buyer on the other side, right? So you are solving their needs. You are solving their challenges, pain points, through the products and solutions that you are building. So having that context, and there are several skills in that context, is absolutely required. The third one is a business context, right? So now you need to think in terms of, you know, what kind of decisions do we make that helps our business thrive, right? So it could be in terms of the opportunity that you are trying to address, the market opportunity or market size, or it could be in terms of the revenue models or monetization model. How do you want to make money? Or it could be in terms of how much can we charge for this, which is about pricing, right? So 3 contexts are important, and business analysts often are focused on translating the requirements and information that you get directly from customers. And customers often don't tell you what their underlying pain points and problems are. They will tell you what they want, right? And you often translate that into some requirements that the teams can work, which is pretty much same as product owner in many companies. And then that requires a step up to get into product management or product role, and of course grow in those responsibilities. Now if the question is, okay, what's the difference between this grade or this level in product management and that level, right? It could be something like a senior product manager and even a director of products or a director of engineering. Very simple. Sometimes you handle one product, sometimes you're having a portfolio of products, right? And that comes with additional responsibilities and additional activities that you need to do. So that's in a roundabout way of answering what's the difference between a BA and product manager. Yeah, hopefully that answered the question, others.
Thank you, Sai. We have Dipanshu. Hey, Dipanshu, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Thanks, Sunil, for giving me the opportunity. Thanks, SaiSatish, for taking time and answering such wonderful questions and answers. Briefly, I'll give an introduction. I am an automobile journalist, worked with the leading news publication, and have been working on the digital news product for more than 6 years now, and have a fair idea about Google Analytics, SEO, and all. I'm looking to transit to product management. So what are your suggestions on that side? How I can transit to product management, being a journalist as a background, and if you can throw some light on it.
Sure. Again, I think, I will reiterate that you don't have to have a technical background, technology background to become a person who makes decisions about the product for your customers, right? So that's the key part here. Now, especially when you're talking about digital products, now they are very interesting and slightly different products than, non-digital. When I say digital, you might say that is a software a digital product? In a way, the answer is yes, but digital has very unique characteristics, right? So self-updating and dependency on other ecosystems and ability to create awareness and acquire customers through completely digital channels as opposed to the traditional channels like event marketing, trade shows, and a lot of those things, right? So which means that it also requires you to learn new skills, product skills, not technology skills. Technology skills, if you want to build a digital magazine, that's a different story. If you yourself want to do it, but if you want to be able to define what this digital product is, right? And for whom is this going to be? Is this going to be for 20 to 40-year-old automobile, for people who want to purchase automobiles and hence are looking to read about them, reviews about them, or are these hardcore auto enthusiasts where they love to rip open the engine and look under the carburetor or whatever the parts you have? So you have to understand and define who your customer segment is, right? So now, yes, you can do a lot of these things today through the digital marketing tools that some of those things that you mentioned, right? So, but more importantly, I'll go back to this customer context, product and business context. How do you first of all know what your customers want, you think they want is actually what they want? Right now, today with digital techniques or digital tools, there are some amazing ways to find that out, right? We call this as customer insighting and problem discovery, right? And problem validation. So many products around us today, and especially digital products, are being built today without actually building the products, right? You might go to some websites, you might download some apps, you might sign up for something. They have nothing behind them. It is a very clever and nice way of testing certain assumptions that the product people are making. The assumptions that they are making in the context of the customer, the assumptions that they are making in the context of product, and the assumptions that they are making in the context of the market itself, right? Now, how do you even know that there is enough number of people in this market, right? So when it comes to asking these questions, there are three fundamental questions that you need to ask and gather evidence to convince yourself before getting into products, right? Which is the problem real? Now, you might think, or problem in the sense I'm categorizing the user's needs also as problems, but they'll be treated slightly differently. Right? Is that real? Is that urgent? Because all of us have too many things on our priority list to actually go and try to solve them. Right? Where does this figure in that priority list? And the third one, is the problem big enough? If it is not big enough, it might just be a hobby. You might be solving this for your friends and family, and it's not worthy of doing a product, right? Now, all of these things require you to have certain skills to be able to do this. This is not gut feel. This is not a hunch. Now, I wouldn't recommend, I'm a two-time entrepreneur, by the way, apart from my, long stint, 22, 23 year stint in multinational product companies, technology companies. I've also been twice entrepreneur, failed miserably, right? So what I'm telling you is things that you shouldn't do. Go and do some other mistakes, right? Don't do the same mistakes. So essentially, you need to have those skills and you need to be able to use them in this context before you get further along in coming and saying, I have a product, now I am searching for customers, right? That's the wrong way of looking at it, because you will burn a lot of things, not just money, your morale, your motivation, all of that will get unnecessarily impacted. So three things is skill, learning the skill, learning it from the right people, which means people who do those skills, right? Not some academician who has written some research papers. No offense to them, right? My dad is a professor, so I have a lot of respect for academics and academicians. But at this stage of career and in this area, what you need is somebody who does this as a part of their job and comes and gives you coaching, mentoring, teaching, saying that this is how it works in the real world, right? Practical knowledge is required. So learning the right skill, learning from the right people, and learning the right way is very important. Now, what is that learning the right way, right? All of us can sit in our homes and go to YouTube, go to Udemy, or go to Coursera and search for any skill that you want today, right? Including learning Russian, right? And you can go through that video and claim that you've learned it. But is that really learning? Not really, right? The learning is learning when you're able to apply what you have learned through that in a real world product context, project context, idea context. So if you don't have that environment that fosters you to do that, or even forces you to do that to some extent, then our learning is not fulfilled, right? It's not complete. So my suggestion to all of you who are looking to upskill and reskill, primarily if you either want to transition your career into products or start your own ventures and new ideas, choose an environment which helps you in these three things, right? The right skills from the right people and the right way, right? So long answer again, I hope I've covered that. If not, let me know. Try to address.
One more thing. How do you see, like it's been 8 years now into journalism. Do you think the transition is possible right now, or should I just go ahead what I was doing previously and just excel in that way? But I have a great interest in internet products, and because I've been working on digital for last 6 years.
I have a good friend. He today heads Google Pay, right? And he came from publishing background, right? He was actually a person who spent time, and I don't want to name a publication. It is an UK-based publication, and he spent 9 years, working as a content manager in that company. And today he heads Google Pay in India. Right? So transitions happen, absolutely possible, but there needs to be deliberate attempt, deliberate effort, and choose the right path to move there. It's not easy. It's not easy for anyone, right? Not just for you or me or anybody, but a deliberate and conscious effort, absolutely possible. In fact, I have seen people transition from neurosurgery into medical products, neurosurgery into medical products, Air Force pilot into building products. So this is, it's just a matter of mindset. Unfortunately, what happens is we have spent too many years, and then anything that doesn't sit well with our worldview, our understanding, we kind of slightly discard it or avoid it or escape it, right? What really needs to happen here is we need to unlearn first. that unlearning itself is a process where we need to be challenged with things that we never thought were the right way to do. And then the learning happens pretty easily. So absolutely possible, Dipanshu.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inspiring.
Sure.
Thank you, Dipanshu. Mayura, please unmute yourself and go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, okay. Hi, Mr. SaiSatish. This is Mayur here.
Hi, Mayur.
Yeah, hello. So I'm basically have already started my entrepreneurship journey, and somewhere in the middle, I found that product management is something that I need to dig into. My background is basically I'm a techie, I'm an architect right now, technology architect, and also a project manager. But building my own startup definitely requires either I have to hire a product manager or I need to learn it myself. But what I have decided to do is that learn this product development life cycle myself and apply it on my own ideas that I have a couple of selected. So looking at this program right now, and what you said is very right, that you learn something, but if you don't apply to the real-time problem, definitely there is no point of learning those skills. You will not say that you have actually learned it, right? I can do 100 courses on Udemy, and I can do 100 courses on Coursera, but if the learning is not applied to the product that I want to develop it myself, there is no meaning for that.
Yeah.
So this is what exactly I want to do it. I want to learn the product management life cycle completely end to end. I know software development life cycle, if you ask me, being a techie. Okay, but as you said, like you have been failed twice, you have been successful twice, right? So I really want to learn this product management from a real and experienced entrepreneur who have failed, who have been successful, who can coach me, who can mentor me at every step of the product management, starting from a discovery of an idea, starting from a niche, and taking me to where even comes a question of how to scale it or how to decide the customers and all sort of things. So my question is that one question is, this program is going to cover all of these things which can help an entrepreneur like me. I don't want to definitely go to another job and say that I am asking for 50% high because I want to switch from a scrum master role to a product manager role. So basically, I want to go down from the current job and start my entrepreneurship journey. I have an idea, but I don't know product management at all. I have zero knowledge on that.
No, excellent question. So here's what typically I say, right? Every entrepreneur is a product manager, but not every product manager is an entrepreneur, right?
Right.
There are fundamental differences there, right? Well, the reason why I say this is the mindset and the skills that are required to become an entrepreneur, to come up with an idea. And by the way, many people think that, ideas are, should be protected, secretive. It's all nonsense, right? So ideas are dime a dozen, and anybody has ideas, by the way, right? Of course, there are some dumb ideas. I'll give you that. But what do you do with those ideas is important. And entrepreneurs are the ones that take that step forward and say, I'm going to solve this. I'm going to build this, right? So, and the skills that are required are absolutely the same for product manager and entrepreneur. But entrepreneurship is a lot more about the personality, a lot more about the individual. Whether you can forego your 30 lakh salary for 18 months and still be at it in the face of certain ups and down cycles, and still get up in the next day morning and say, wow, what an awesome day, is what determines who an entrepreneur is, right? And there is a certain type, certain mentality, certain personality that goes to it. And of course, the end results are just incredible, right? So from a skills point of view, there are entrepreneurial skills and which are very similar and exactly the same for product, but not the other way around. Now, going back to your question, so there are several programs offered by IPL, right? So one is a comprehensive executive MBA, which is about 18 months program in Bangalore and Pune, which covers right from customer context that we talked about, understanding how do you even figure out what problems to solve, what needs to address in the market, what is an idea, how do you do this ideation, and then take step by step going through that entire what we call as productizing life cycle, right? So as I said, the software life cycle, and there is a product life cycle, but even before you get to the product life cycle, because product life cycle begins after an ideation and you have this product which goes through stages of maturity, decline, and all of that. But before that, there is an understanding value, creating value, communicating value, capturing value, and distributing value. These are all different phases of converting an idea into a product or an offering that you can take to the market, right? So in all the programs that are offered by IPL, starting with Executive MBA, and there is another certification program for specifically on product management called Icpm, and the Flex program, the Icpm Flex program, which is decoupled from location and decoupled from duration, right? So it's a self-paced program. In all this program, the learning by doing is a fundamental emphasis, right? Every skill that you undergo, it's a hands-on. You get your hands dirty, whether you like it or not. Now, you may not want to be a designer, but you still have to go through that skill, apply that skill, doing right from design thinking, customer centricity, wireframing, prototyping, visual design, because you understand what that means, and you can have meaningful conversations with the team members or anybody that you are working with. Now, in these things, there are the two programs that are there, the Executive MBA and the ICPM. There is a very interesting concept called product labs, right? The product labs is bring your own idea. Every participant brings their own idea, and then there is ideation workshops that happen, and then the teams get formed, and then you start working on this idea, go through the entire phases, practically gathering evidence, concluding and making decisions on what to do with that idea, right? And it's especially this is an Executive MBA because you have 12 months of split into 6 months and 6 months, where you need to get out of the room, get out of your comfort zone, go and talk to your customers, go and talk to your partners, interview them, lots of activities that you do, gather evidence, make decisions. And what are these decisions? The same thing as I said, is the problem real? Are we solving the right problem? Is this an urgent one? And is there a big opportunity here? Is this worth solving? And then is our solution hypothesis the correct one? Is the customer agreeing to what we are building and how we are building this? These are all tests and experiments that you need to do. This is not like I'm going to sit in my room for 3 months, heads down, program, code, because I can do it. I built a product. Now let me see where I can take this to. This is exactly what mistake I did, right? So because I had the technical ability, because I could build the products, sat down, finished it 3 months, and then said, why wouldn't anybody want this product? It's such a great product. But then I realized that I'm not solving some core problems that customers have in that area. So the whole emphasis, and I'm sure many of you have followed these models around lean methodology and customer development and all of those things. That is exactly what is done in the IPL programs, right? Hands-on experiential learning in a sandbox environment, so that even if you gather evidence and fail at it, there is learning and not consequences about it. If you do this in your real world, you know what consequences be, right? So money, time, effort, motivation, all of that loss. So this is rigorous, by the way, this product labs in the two programs. The Executive MBA program, which is a campus-driven accredited UGC accredited program that happens in Bangalore and Pune, and which includes, by the way, lots of leadership components, because that's a product leadership, Executive MBA in product leadership. Then there is a 5-month certification program, which is a blend of digital learning and live virtual sessions like this. And the third one is a Flex program, which is exactly same like the ICPM program, but it is self-paced. You can join, you can of course consume the digital content, but there are live virtual sessions that are happening. You join these sessions like this. And in all these programs, by the way, Mayur, very important thing that you asked is there somebody as a coach, as a mentor that can guide, right? So I'm just one of the coaches. There are 20 plus coaches with IPL programs with entrepreneurial background, with senior product building background, with designs background, data background, lots of people who can give this, and careers, of course, right? So in a way, the answer is every IPL program that is out there, the main focus is learning by doing. Without doing, you do not have that skill, period.
Yes, thank you for your very detailed answer. So just to conclude it, I can expect for me as an entrepreneur, I need to do that executive MBA, right? And I also need to do this 5 months of product management workshop.
No, you need to choose what is right for you, right? You don't have to do all of this. As I said, so the executive MBA program is an 18-month program. If you have the time, if you have the appetite, it's a comprehensive program right from, it covers 20 plus product skills, including product strategy, including management consulting, including for business finance, because as an entrepreneur, you need those skills. Without finance, you cannot take a product to market without understanding of finance, right? So that is a comprehensive program that covers all these things, and it is a campus-based program, right? There is other program, which is the ICPM program, which is 5 months. Now, you need to, I think, if you go to the website, or if maybe Sonal team can post the links to those programs, go through those programs, set up a time with a counselor, understand them a little more deeper, and then make a decision, right? But what is important, what I wanted to communicate, that is all of this program, the emphasis is on learning by doing pedagogy. That's it, right? You build products, you can bring your ideas and create, take it from all the way ideation phase, all the way to go to market and launch, right? If that is what you want to do.
Right. So is there an ICPM Flex program? If I join this particular program, can I expect to go through the product lab, which you mentioned?
So ICPM Flex program. So if let me spend a minute on that then. ICPM Flex program, as I said, is then, as the name suggests, is flexible, right? Which means that it's a self-paced program which has 5 core skills that are required, curated for product roles, right? And because this is what we keep hearing from industry council. So IPL works very closely with lots of senior industry leaders to make sure that the curriculum that is designed, the courses that are designed, the activities that are designed are in line with what industry expects, right? So there is a back and forth around that. Now, in the ICPM Flex program, the learning by doing pedagogy is applied slightly differently, right? Every course that you go through, and IPL calls it as every skill, right? So there are 5 skills and 5 courses matched to it. Starts with product management fundamentals and value proposition design, which is all about customer context, right? And then you move to user experience and UI design, which is also about deeply understanding your customer in terms of user research, design thinking, and then coming up with product design aspects of it. The third one is, now that you understood what main problems that you want to solve and needs that you want to address, it also is about agile product management, right? How do you prioritize them? How do you sequence them? How do you show roadmap and all of that, right? The fourth one is product marketing and digital marketing. Now you have to communicate that value that you're building to that market. What are the skills around that? And the fifth and final one is focusing only on digital products, and because they are slightly different and a different approach to it. In this flow, in this program, every skill or every course, the learning by doing approach is through assignments and capstone projects. And these are based on real world projects and case studies and scenarios that you will be working on, right? This is not a case study driven thing. Case study is studying a past thing that has happened and then interpreting it and giving your answers. The capstone project and assignments that are there for every skill here are hands-on activity that you need to do for a given project. Now, I believe in this program, there is an option of choosing bring your own idea, right? Rather than picking up the capstone projects that are available for all the participants, you can bring your own idea and start applying those skills on that idea throughout this program. So that's also another way to look at the hands-on application of it. It's not a product labs as I described. The product labs is a lot more deeper and comprehensive in the executive MBA program. And there is a less, compressed version of that same in the ICPM program. But in the Flex program, the hands-on and learning by doing is in the form of capstone projects that you work on applying those skills or bring your own idea and project. Yeah, Mayur?
All right, thank you. That's answered my question. Yeah, thank you so much.
Great. Thank you, Sai. Vineet, can you please unmute yourself and go ahead and ask your question?
Thank you so much for the entire session. It's really helpful. Just a quick question. So I am a marketeer and I run my own marketing agency in Delhi. And now I'm sort of pulled in a bit. So I'm looking at sort of upgrading the skill set in terms of the current methods that are going on. And I'm sort of pulled in between product management and doing business analytics. Also, one of the purpose behind that is because I plan to move abroad. So for that, I sort of need to also be upgrading the skill set. So I just want your help in understanding, drawing a contrast between these two fields, how they relate to each other, and how they sort of like what is the contrast between them at the same time. So just to understand that better.
So just to be clear, you talked about business analytics, right? Not business analysis.
No, business analytics. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Data science and business analytics.
Correct. Business analytics earlier it used to be called business intelligence, and now you're talking about, so it's in the realm of data. Now, here is a very important thing. While we talked a lot about product and product skills, building products and all, it is very important to recognize and acknowledge the importance of two other areas in this. One is design, the other one is data, right? They have become very integral to building products. When I say building products, this is all about making data-driven decisions, right? Whether you choose to build a product or not should be based on data, right? Not anecdotal evidence. Whether your product is working well or your solution hypothesis is correct or your MVP or prototype is actually solving customer problems should be based on data. Among the 25 things that you need to solve in the product, the features that we call, right? A lot of us call about product means features, right? In product language, we call that as feature vomit, right? It's not, it's totally useless if you just reel out what set of features are there. Now, which of those things are important? Which of those things are you going to prioritize? Which of those things are you going to invest in terms of the team's time, effort, and money should be based on data, right? So data-driven decision-making in the context of products is a very important skill to have, right? Now, which means that not having a product understanding or product skills will make you probably skilled at business analytics, but in what sense, right? What are you going to use that skill for? You could use that skill for, in a non-product context, but the scope is very limited. For example, you said you are a marketeer, right? Now, digital marketing especially is all about slicing and dicing that data.
Correct.
Right? Segmentation, which is the right segment to position this to, what is the right message that is working? Is this video working or is that video working? Is this message working? This is all about collecting data and analyzing, right? Now, exactly the same approach you would use in various stages of building this product. So which means if you have a holistic understanding of what product skills are and what does it take for anyone to build a product, building in those analytic skills will become actually natural and important. So all I'm saying is it's not one is more important than the other. Product skills now implicitly, especially in your digital products, will require you to use data to make decisions, and even having the business analytics skill or even data skills there are going to be helpful, right? But without products, now I can't think of really where you would apply this business analytics. You would probably just become some analyst where you tell what patterns you are seeing without knowing or even influencing those decisions.
Right. So in a way, what I understand is that product management in that sense is a role wherein you are making decisions which has been which is based on the data that has been given by some business analyst in business, like some
business analytics, correct?
Yeah, business analytics.
So there, what we call it as in the context of product, we call this as product analytics.
Okay.
Right? What we do is we are gathering data. Now we are using the analytics tools to visualize. So for example, cohort analysis, right? So, if there is a product and like Zoom, let's say, right? Now Zoom is obsessively measuring how many people downloaded Zoom in this day, right? And in the set of that people, what is the engagement levels as they go for next 3 weeks, right? And if you don't have these people engaged on the product in the first 1 week, they know for sure that the person will stop using this product. And hence everything will trigger now, promotions or encouragement, emails, and saying that, look, there is a webinar happening, all of this. Why? Because you want that user now to start using this product within the first week of signing up. Otherwise, for sure based on data and your analytics that this person will not use it. So those decisions become very important.
All right. Thank you so much.
Sure.
That is helpful.
Thank you, Sai. Thank you, Vineet. We have a question from Rohan Sai. It's a long question. He's a BTech graduate
Certainly
from
not
computer
longer
science.
than my answer. So.
Sure, yeah. So he's a BTech graduate from computer science. He has completed his 1-year internship in product manager and converted to full-time as a software engineer. From last 1 year, he is with PM team and focuses on product enablement in data governance and privacy domain. His question is, what should be his learning strategy? And one second, what are the learning goals he should focus in order to stand for a assistant PM role, assistant associate APM role in near future? And what are the skills he should focus on in coming 1 to 2 years? Is Icpm Flex program suitable for a fresher like him? And if yes, what are the challenges for which he should be mentally prepared for the journey?
Wow,
Too many questions.
That is indeed a long question, and there are many questions there. And Rohan, you could have just come online and asked this.
He's unable to unmute himself, so hence I read it out.
But I appreciate you actually typing such a long question. So, and by the way, congratulations, and I think you are one of the very, very few that I know who possibly accidentally fell into a product management role immediately after your graduation, right? So it has its own upsides and it has its own downsides, because the reason why I say that is you have to be in the trenches in working on the products before you become a product manager to get that perspective. But the advantage is you have a very early start, and you can absolutely grow in this role pretty quickly, right? So let me try and answer some of these questions in a broad way again. When you say the hiring managers or product growth falls under 3 aspects. One is the domain expertise. Second one is the functional expertise. Third one is leadership, right? Now, often, first few years of our career, we spend most of our time and competence and even becoming good at in the first 2 parts of it, right? Which is a domain. The second one is a functional. Now, even within that, often domain is an accidental one. Now, you are in GRC, right? Governance and compliance, right? So data governance and compliance area. It's a very fascinating area. It's a growing area, by the way, but it's also kind of dry right now because it deals a lot with regulation, countries, and complexities and all of that. And I've spent a couple of years in that, especially when GDPR was in early stages. One of our teams in Belgium were part of the team that was drafting and working with the governments on these things, right? So now the point is, if you're interested in that domain and if you want to continue in that, my suggestion would be spend time in that domain, right? Domain is something that you will never be able to learn through any program. This is very important, whether it is telecommunications, pharmaceuticals, security, finance, whatever it is, right? Domain is something that you have to spend that time. That is the experience that you gain. So either this one or somewhere, but you spend that time, right? 3-4 years in that. The next one is on the functional role aspect of it. Now, fortunately, you said you are already got exposure to product management and now you're a software engineer. Functional roles are things that we spent typically with titles: project manager, program manager, marketeer, designer, all of these things, right? So there, if you spend about 10 years, then you will have difficulty and also questions and challenges on, how do I make a transition to this? But you are in very early stage. It's a very easy step for you to move if you want to move from there to APM. Now, by the way, this APM role, Associate Product Manager, is a very new role in India. And in fact, I was surprised when a company head of products asked me, Sai, I want to hire APMs. what kind of course structure, what kind of skill structure do you recommend? I said, who the hell are APMs? This is the first time I'm hearing, right? So this is a new role, and which is a good one, by the way, because it provides a nice entry for engineers to get into product management. So this answer is very straightforward and simple here, that you absolutely need to have a structured way of now understanding this product management, right? Product management can come across as a very confusing, too many things to do, too many activities to do, skills to do. But if you go through a structured way, it becomes straightforward, and you will be able to appreciate it and learn very much. So don't miss that opportunity. Very few people will have that opportunity. And in my personal opinion, if you look at many products or trainings that are there, courses that are there, the Flex program, I believe, will give you a better impact than the other programs that IPL has, mainly because you get to work with these mentors at this early stage to learn from them to shape your career, right? In a way, what I'm saying is, for a 10-year experienced person, for them to acquire these new skills, first that slate has to be erased, and then new things have to be written on that slate. For you, the slate is clean. So it's a faster and much higher impact with the Flex program. So that's my personal view, by the way.
Great. I hope that answered your question, Rohan. We have Radha Krishna. Please unmute yourself. Go ahead and ask your question.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. This is Radha Krishna Sitaram. So my case is little different here. So I'm a full-time product manager, right? So I have 11 years of experience. I'm a full-time product manager, and then I have domain expertise in supply chain management and logistics over the last decade or so. So I'm currently heading 2 products, right? So here my thing is like product management for me, I have learned it as an experience, right? So it has nothing to do with what domain has to offer. If you see the 2 teams that I have, both the teams I'm running in 2 different ways, because one team is pretty agile and one team is below waterfall model, right? For one team, I just have to mock up something and then give it to them, they will build. Another team, I have to write detailed specs as detailed as possible. And if there is one unanswered question, they'll not pick that up, right? So for me, I was looking at have past 10 years of experience. I want to give it a good international degree in product management, or to learn what product management as a domain has to offer. And then to basically upskill my skill sets to put up better designs, because most of my communications are now with respect to senior management, right? So I cannot go with one design or one approach. So everything they have to, every approach or every design that I put in, it has to be multidimensional, and then they have to know pros, cons, and what is the better approach, right? With the technology that has come out, so it's very easy to put anybody's design down, right? So you need to have that multi-dimensional approach whenever you are put forwarding a design, or whenever you are presenting
a proposal,
anything, right?
basically. Anything, it could be anything.
Right. So basically, I was looking at Icpm Flex as a program, basically to upskill. So is this a right program for a person like me to basically get some design ideas, get some innovative thinking, or do something better that I have learned on my own by giving a theoretical or more practical approach? So
see, I think one thing we all have to acknowledge is the days of telling stories just because we have to tell stories is gone, right? And people can punch holes in it because information is free. People can access information, find holes in it. So which means that we have to be realistic, pragmatic, and demonstrate to people, not just tell them, right? Unless you demonstrate, whether it is about your customers, your understanding of your customers, or the impact or the consequences of not having a solution to the customers, all of this need to be demonstrated. And especially when it comes to presenting it to your senior management or leadership roles, often those people are not as well as well entrenched, or rather as they have deeper understanding of all these things, because there are different roles. They have a different way of looking at things, right? So which means that it's not just about what you want to propose, but or present, but how. That how is an absolutely critical thing,
Yeah,
right?
that's
So,
yeah.
while many of us get into this product management accidentally and perform and learn on the go, I think when you are confronted with a very, a structured way of looking at it and say, how do you now take this, market this product, right? How do you position this product to your customer segment? And by the way, who is even your customer segment? If you ask this fundamental question, if somebody asks you, or if you're in a situation that this system is asking you that questions, that is where, in my view, a lot of learning happens, right? Otherwise, we are chugging along in our own journey. I know who my customer is. I know what their pain points are. I know our product is solving their problem. All of this. This is typically many product managers that I've seen in enterprises, right? So now there's nothing wrong with it if everything is working for you, but for a future growth, the very fundamental things that I talk about is you have to move from inbound towards outbound, right? And that outbound means that you are not only articulating the value of what you are doing and what you need to do to your stakeholders, your leadership teams, your customers, and your partners, right? So do we have that whole set of skill sets and mindset? If not, you need to build this right away, right? Otherwise, what happens is, Radhakrishna, 3 years, 5 years, 6 years, you'll be very good at what you're doing, but you will continue to be managing those two products, right? Now, clearly, I'm assuming that you want to be able to get to a portfolio level, right? And you want to be able to get to a business decision-making level, especially in terms of where do I invest money and people in which product do I invest in? That requires a different set of exposure, a different set of understanding. So somebody who has done that, getting mentorship and coaching with those people. More importantly, I think I missed this part for all of you, is when you join a group like IPL, this is 2,000 plus people who have gone through this program. It's all very strong alumni network, right? Many of them are senior product leaders in various organizations today. And in one swoop, you will have access to these people. People are more than willing to help you, guide you, and do this. Apart from the dedicated mentors, faculty, coaches that you have, right? So having that ecosystem, having that network becomes absolutely critical, right? So pick any program, but the Flex program is absolutely suitable for you, and especially in acquiring new skills, right? Today you are in supply chain. Now, even if you've seen SEM area, there are lots of digital products that are coming in, right? Being built by many companies. In fact, what is that company? JDA turned into
Blue Yonder.
Blue Yonder. Blue
JDA
Yonder.
is into Blue Yonder.
They are totally transforming it into digital company, right? Digital products and everything. So, so essentially, having those new skills is also going to be important, and putting that in a context where you will be forced to do hands-on activities is really important, right? Otherwise, all of us can say that I know this. Now, what's the difference? How are you going to be differentiating yourself from all those other people who also have seen the same videos and say they also know that skill?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So looks like we've covered most of it. As I said, I tried to be as broad because, just point question mean that if there are no more questions, we can all go home. But, hopefully a lot of unanswered or unasked questions got answered as well.
Yes, and thank you so much for that, sir.
Sure.
Thank you everyone for joining us today. In case we did not answer your questions, please reach out to us on these channels or on the email ID, and we'll try to answer your questions. Thanks a lot. Good night. Stay skilled.
Good night, all of you. Stay safe. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Sai. Bye.